Just hit it now.
All right, and let me know if everyone can hear me. So I have put a couple of events together for the 2021 um, year, and it's a proposal, so we can go through them one by one and maybe have a brief discussion to see which ones we are going to keep. We can keep all of them, and because most of them are some partnered events, and which any other ideas that anyone have that they may want to add to it to spruce it up a bit, and we'll take it from there. So I'm not sure if everyone has the event proposal list in front of them. So we'll start with the first one that's on the list, which is the April Memorial Cup. And I believe this would be a partnered event with the city, because the city is looking to host a Memorial Cup for end of season with the Generals. So whatever,
I believe are May 20th to May 30th.
Is it May? Okay, so we can change that date. I wasn't sure if it was April or May, so I just pick one. So we can change that to May, that's fine. What I had in mind was, because it would be having visitors in from out of town, we can do a package option. And I have this package options for about 3 of our events, because I think it's a wonderful idea. Not only to bring tourists and feet on the street to downtown, but to also promote some of our downtown businesses, and as well garner some revenues for not only the businesses, but for the BIA as well. So what I had in mind is the one night hotel stay, or it could be any amount of nights hotel stay for the Amber. Is it you that's at the hotel, right?
Yes.
Right. And then the number of guests can vary, maybe one person, maybe two, I'm not sure, maybe four. And so we'll get Amber to give us a ballpark of, or just a figure of what her best price is for one night, one person, maybe one night, two people, one night, four people.
But are you also going to tie in La Quinta Hotel as well?
Pardon me?
Are you going to tie in La Quinta Hotel as well?
We can have the two hotels, anyone that's willing to participate.
I think this is a great idea, and definitely throughout the year, it's a great partnership, but I want to be very upfront that I will be very filled with officials, players, because it's going to bring a lot of teams from other. So what I'd like to do is just, I would like to hold a few rooms so that we can still offer this, but just be aware that we will be very busy to start with. I would be sold out almost already, but I think this is a great package, and just the SEO of it, I would probably be able to hold some rooms for it aside. But the rates will be really high during Memorial Cup.
Okay. So yeah, so Angela, then we can have, of course, we can have more than one business participate, or more than one hotel that's downtown, right? Or
yeah, there's the two
that so we can get like a best price for that. It's a partnership all around on things like this. So we'll get the best price. And then the other thing I was thinking is to make it a package option, a deal. What we'll do is also we add a downtown Oshawa walk-in tour with pub crawl tickets. I'm not sure if Greg is there. Is Greg there today?
He is not.
Okay. So this was part of his walk-in tour that we can do on a couple other events in addition to what he's doing on his own. And the pub crawl tickets were, I was thinking where I was going with that is if some of our downtown restaurants or bars or even the breweries wanted to offer like.
So I'd like to drop in something here. Andrea, do you know when the outdoor patio season starts?
No, not exactly.
Okay, because if it's May, I would like to think that the outdoor patio season would begin in early May, and if that's the case, no?
No, most likely it'll probably occur after the long weekend in May.
So yeah. Certainly be open in time for this, though.
The ending of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I think we should do is push it so that it is open, because if this Troubadour series goes as well as it seems to be going, then having at least five outdoor venues with live music during the time of the Memorial Cup I think would be a huge draw for people to stay downtown, not just at a hotel downtown, but to stay downtown and, you know, party on after the game. So that's something else that I think should be part of this consideration.
Okay, sure. So we'll add that in there as well. So with the pub crawl, maybe the businesses, the breweries can offer like a mini, I don't know, if they want to do like one mini sample of beer, one sampler of whatever they have on their menu, for whoever wants to participate. And it's promotion for downtown, it's bringing people to their establishment. And then we can have 15% off dinner and lunch at these participating restaurants, whoever wants to participate. So
yeah, massive potential here, both in what you say for alternate times of the day, but also in the evening. And if you're going to get the breweries involved and the outdoor patios are open and there's live music for people to sit and drink and sing and do dance in the street or whatever, then I think there's huge sponsorship opportunity for the breweries and wineries and whatever to be involved.
yeah, definitely. So I don't know if anybody has anything else to add. So then what I was thinking with this whole package option thing is so that we get the best price from the hotel, whatever they're willing to partner with us on, and then we do a slight markup and also include Greg's walk-in tour, whatever his best price is. We do a slight markup and then everyone gets a cut. Of course, the cuts will be bigger based on, of course, the hotel is more. So whatever, and then Greg gets a cut and then the BIA gets a cut, and that's how we'll do our package option.
Okay, and how do you foresee us selling the package?
Through online option.
And again, how? Like the only way that we could possibly do that at this point is Eventbrite. Our website is not set up for monetizing anything.
Okay, so we can look into that. I mean, I can look into that as soon as possible once we
can do it on Eventbrite. I just want to have logistics sort of, because right now, everything that you're saying is overwhelming in terms of what the office is going to have to do. If we have to go out and secure restaurants that are going to do 10 to 15%, that's going to be a challenge. You know, if we're adding the Troubadours, we have to, that series, we have to make sure that where they are, it's spaced out properly. And more, well, no.
Yeah,
Well, yes, but there's other areas that could be having it too, like Wing Addicts or something like that, right? So we have to
sure.
Yes, so we need to determine how many. We also have to take into consideration the length of time for the Troubadour series, because right now there is an issue with one location. So there's a number of things logistically that are
right. So we'll brush up on that. The Troubadour series, I mean, we've started that as a pilot this year. We'll see how it goes. We'll hopefully, whatever issue we have with that location will get ironed out soon. And let's see how that turns out. Things like that can always be added or removed if it just isn't feasible as we, you know, start putting some action to our plans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe we were getting an events person from Durham College. Is that correct?
No. I believe if you're referring to the board meeting, I was looking into there's a field placement, and hopefully we'll be able to get one, but I need to verify if there's a cost for that, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. We can sell the tickets on Eventbrite. That's not an issue. I'm just sort of logistics stuff is going through my head, right?
Yeah, no problem, Angela. And I mean, we're going to have some other meetings where we're going to sit down to try and address what every logistical issue is, or planning or resource or whatever the issue is. They'll be vary from event to event, and get some action items from those and try and tackle them one by one. Everything's going to be overwhelming as we ramp back up for 2021 because nothing's been happening right now.
Yeah. So, but what I'm looking at this in terms of costs and stuff, right? I'd say the only hard cost to us is if we do add the Troubadour series.
Yes, yes, and hopefully by then we can garner some of the restaurants. Hopefully this is 2021, so we're looking out. Hopefully by then businesses would have picked up. Hopefully COVID would have alleviated somewhat. I'm not sure. Everything is still day by day, but hopefully if everything goes according to plan, this Troubadour series maybe turns out to be successful, we can look at mitigating some of our sponsorship for that event into asking the restaurants, hey, business is booming for you, your patios are doing good, the events are live, people are coming down. Maybe they can help with it's whatever the $50 a night for the entertainers is. That's very, I think it's minor to ask of them considering the amount of business it would be bringing into them each weekend.
Andrea, that's actually $100 now because we have full sponsorships.
Okay, so $100 a weekend. That's not too bad, Rick. I mean, if it goes well, it will be
No,
bringing
Andrea,
patrons.
it's $100 per performance per location. So right now it's $500
Per day.
However, that is really low. So I would ideally like to see that increase, right? Whether we can get multiple sponsors or whatever, but that's okay. So that's just a logistics thing that we can work out. So I guess the thing that we need, sorry, Taylor has a question, and then when she has a question, then I'll talk again.
Have we
Okay.
ordered the Memorial Cup yet? Like,
No.
What's the contingency plan if this doesn't happen in Ottawa? Host like a tailgate party or something instead, so that we still bring people into downtown?
Yeah, but there'd
We
be no
celebrate.
guarantee the Generals would be in the Memorial Cup. If we get the Memorial Cup, the whole city team goes in. That's the key.
Yeah.
So this whole thing would change if is it Sault Ste. Marie? If Sault
Yeah.
Ste. Marie gets the cup and the Generals aren't in it, then we're back to a ramp up our usual events or new events and do our summer the way we would like to do it.
Yeah, this would just be a scrap, Taylor.
Yeah. Well, maybe not, because we might have enough fans that still might want to see like at least the final game, and maybe we could do something like we did with the Raptors. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
At the Tribute Center. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to put a dollar value to this. So it looks like most of it will be covered, but I'm going to suggest maybe putting like $2,000 or $2,500 towards this, because that should cover off some advertising, but that will then cover off some of the costs for the Troubadours. And even if we put a value to it, we don't necessarily have to use that, but at least we have a budget item towards it.
Okay, so let's go with the 2,500.
Okay. Is everyone okay with that?
I have no idea of costs at this point. So do you say that's a good cost?
Well, the only cost that I foresee as a hard cost is the Troubadour.
Eventbrite has a small cost, but it usually gets passed on to the buyer.
Yeah, we have a choice of doing it that
Well,
way.
and the Troubadour thing would be spread over 5 months, not just.
Well, we would factor in the Troubadour for that 1 month,
Yeah,
right?
that's would be
So-
prorated.
Well, not necessarily prorated.
Sure.
If we
because
know how
have
much-
May, June, July, August, September.
Yes.
it's 5 months, right? Yeah.
Well, no, I would say that Troubadour's for that month, and then we look at for the other months, as it's part of this event. Doesn't matter. We will figure it out. Okay, sorry. Next.
All right, so the second event is the June Convocation, which is a new event. So on the sheet, all of the events in red are some are new, but these are the ones that are totally through or put on by the BIA, and the ones that are blue will be partnered events.
Okay,
So-
we're looking at black and white.
Oh, okay, well, okay, so for June, I was thinking for convocation, we have something like, say, the City of Oshawa Convocation celebratory packages, where whatever, our marketing, we'll leave that to Matt and the marketing team or Isaac or whoever. It says the City of Oshawa celebrates your successes with you or whatever it is. Again, I was thinking for parents and anybody else who's coming in out of town for these graduation ceremonies, we do the same package options as above. The only difference is for the downtown Oshawa walk-in tour, instead of the walk-in tour being offered with pub crawl tickets, the walk-in tour would be offered with the chair social. And so what I had in mind for that chair social is when Greg is doing the tour, or whoever, if it's not him and maybe his colleague or partner is doing the walk-in tour, downtown for this particular convocation month, they can stop in at the RMG, the museum there, and where the students can stop in. And what I was thinking is that Rick, the mayor, can be there to, you know, give a little speech or a little thank you to the students. Maybe the city can do some pins that are like these little, you know, the pins that you can put on you, that the brochure like pins that say, you know, the city of Oshawa congrats you or something small, just a token, blah, 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 whatever. Our movie screen, right? Angela is currently at RMG. And maybe I was thinking if when we do sell these packages, if the parents want, they can, I don't know, maybe submit like a picture, a memory of something for their kid that we can play on the screen while they're there. And they can have like a,
So our screen is going to be way too big to have this inside.
oh, okay, well, never mind.
And the schools usually do that, and they like don't get much traction, and that's inside while the parents are waiting for their kids' ceremonies to start.
Yeah, so this one, it comes with the walk-in tour, Taylor. So it will be like a little mini surprise. If when they buy the package, they come for the walk-in, they show up for the walk-in tour. At some point on the walk-in tour, they will end up at the museum as part of the walk-in tour.
Okay,
Then-
but it's not, sorry. I think what Taylor is saying is that it's a great idea. The parents aren't going to send anything in.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean for the video part of it that's constantly playing in the background. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. And then also what we can do is they can, you know how like have maybe some wine for the parents and the kid, just a small cheer, you know, cheers, whatever. The mayor gives his speech, thank them for doing so well, being in the city of Oshawa, going to school here, blah, blah, blah. They cheer, they can explore the museum for a little while, and then they carry on with their tour.
Okay, so are you assuming then that there's only one tour that day or multiple?
I don't know. I was hoping Greg would be here this morning so I can have an idea of, you know.
So I would say that there would have to be at least two.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
well,
too.
And maybe four, because in the morning you have one convocation, in the afternoon you have another. So you have two sets of people coming in.
Right.
And I'm not sure that, quite frankly, the families are going to want to do that. A
Yeah.
lot of them will want to come in, celebrate with their families, and then they go off.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole point of why we're offering these package options. So we'll promote it. We'll put it out at the schools, at the whatever. And it might be the package options. If they're looking for hotel, it comes with the hotel. It's a package option. So they buy it. They have the opportunity, you know, let's just get out.
Okay, can we do it without the
After or
hotel?
before.
Can we do it without the hotel? Because otherwise you're excluding the families that already live here.
Like, I think you're definitely gonna get.
Well, we can do a separate, we can do another package that doesn't have the hotel, but for the out of town guests, it would be nice to have the hotel.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a bigger hit with people who stay in a hotel because they're gonna be in the downtown for at least the 17 hours from the check-in to check-out if they only stay one night. But you're gonna run into a lot of logistic problems if you're trying to target people who are only coming in for the ceremony, because you drop your kid off 2 hours before the ceremony starts. So that's a good window of time to take advantage of, but usually it's only one parent, or sometimes the kids drive themselves down or get down here. So that, I think, is your best window to have these walking tours, but then you have to promote it and you have to get parents back into their seat at convocation because seats aren't reserved either.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, like, if you're looking at downtown activities, besides a walking tour, just from personal experience of having myself and my 3 kids go through, you go to convocation and then you maybe go to a nice meal or something afterward, or you go to, you know, a nice lunch before, if it, depending on the, so that's where your opportunity is. And then as soon as you're done that, you're out of there. So, and if it's within driving distance, any kind of, even a couple of hours, people aren't going to stay over. So I think we really need to parse this out, that certainly have a hotel and package for those who are going to come in from out of town. But I think the vast majority, depending on enrollment and where they come from, are going to be in and out the same day.
Well, sorry.
No,
So I would actually suggest that the tour be starting like 1 or 2 days before, because you're going to have some families that are going to come in early, and this might give them the opportunity to do it before the convocation, because that day is going to be stressful enough for everyone. Or you do it 1 or 2 days after.
Yeah, and I would even suggest not even necessarily changing it or tailoring it for the grads. I would just get Greg and be like, hey, there's all these people downtown. Schedule a few more walking tours than you usually do. We'll advertise the crap out of it. Speaking as a new grad, I think more parents and students would get more out of having a live music outside of the venue prior to having like
Photo area.
a photo area, like which we're working on, you know, those kinds of things where they can kind of walk and mill about and enjoy outside, because a lot of people aren't going to stray too far from the building before the ceremony. After the ceremony, people flood the downtown for food and different things, but before, it's a little hectic.
So we have a nice mini square right outside the Tribute Center. And if that's set up properly, you know, there could be, like you say, a little live music there, maybe some booths, maybe some ancillary services to grads right there. That's where your captive market would be. And then have it, you know, saying, well, there are walking tours, or there is a dinner package, or let people know what's happening before and after convocation. I think that's when you have them right there on site. That's when you need to inform them of what's going on. People are going to come in here. They're not going to have read the website. They're not going to have read the materials. That they're focused on their little, you know, son or daughter that they're so proud of graduating. That's what their focus is on. And then if you can at the time say, well, here's something nice for you to do afterward, that's when you're going to grab some additional business.
Sorry, so Rick, you said that the square was where?
Right in front of the Tribute Center. Like
Oh, okay.
goalie mask. I call it the goalie mask. To me, it looks like Jacques Plante's goalie mask. The artwork, there's a little mini square there, and if you set it up right, and depending on where you position the music and the booths, it's a congregating place. They might even consider a street closure on Athol in that area, just so that we can create some kind of an event around through convocation. You know, we do have King Street open. Athol isn't as necessary, so a street closure may even be workable.
Okay, so I think what we'll do then is next meeting, we'll start like putting some meat to some of these bones that we have here, and start like, you know, planning them out so that we come up with something solid by
Again, we need to put a dollar value.
yeah, so we're gonna put the budget, but I mean like the whole, you know, fine details of it will
Work that out later. Like I'm just cognizant that we really need to get this, because we need to get the finance to the board, yada, 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 for the AGM. So
yeah, I got it, I know. So, okay, and then of course the same package has the 15% dinner and lunch that they can do. So again, this, Angela, is probably around the same as the Memorial Cup.
well, not if we're talking about closing streets, it's not. If we're
Which
closing,
streets were we gonna close?
it's, well, if we're talking about what Rick was saying, that's going to cost a whole lot more.
How much is it to close streets? Because we have to have police and barriers and stuff.
Well, not necessarily police. Police depends whether there's alcohol, and if there's alcohol, then they'll usually happy with just security. But there's we have to get the city's okay on that, which that's in-kind services. But then we have to get vehicles to do hard blocks now. So we also have to remember that we're impacting specific businesses along there. So there's volunteer expenses. If we're having music, then there's possibility of a stage having to be got, sound system. So now you're looking anywhere up to like probably 5,000-6,000.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to like shift this into the RMG as part of the walk-in tour, only because
That's cost too, because that's going to be at least $1,200.
yeah, but it's quite smaller than shutting the street down. Only, okay, so the thing is, this of course will be advertised at schools long before convocation starts. So people know what they can have, what the package option is. So they plan their time accordingly.
Okay,
I'm
well,
going to get in this day, I'm going to do that. This day, convocation is here. They plan their time accordingly.
Yeah.
Because I know for myself, when I buy like a package, I don't know, like a hotel night and I go to Niagara Falls, I know it comes with this, maybe Casino Rama tickets, that. I said, fine, I'm going to walk Niagara Street this day. I'm going to do this with what's included in my package or whatever. So it's not like people aren't going to plan their time accordingly when this is offered prior. It's not like we're given this on the day of and then they're like, oh, what am I going to do? This is going to be offered long in advance, right?
I agree. So why don't we give it a budget of say $5,000 or $6,000? And if we don't spend that, great, right? But it's better to have that budget, line item for a budget for it, than, you know, decide that we're going to do something more later on and we don't have the budget.
Okay, I've attacked 6,000 here. I always like to go higher.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
So yeah, and once we have the budget for and what we're doing, we can start creating or figuring out what the plan is, and we can even draft that in the office for, you know, one of the future meetings. So I think right now we just have to keep in mind that we have to have some sort of budget for what we're doing.
Okay, cool. So next is July, and
Pass that, Andrea.
Andrea, it's Ivano here. Listen,
hi,
yeah, hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Great, thanks for doing this. What I want to nail down is the macro plan so that we can get starting on communications in terms of what's in store for 2021 and a macro budget. I like some of the detailed conversations. It's almost like a secondary meeting that has to happen where you get somebody around the table sponsors the event or breaks out the details, because I think we got to eventually get down to the nitty gritty of the budget, like the dollars, right? To know that.
Yes, yeah.
We're taking a guess at what we think we need here.
This is a ballpark, but I was gonna break it down as in terms of like vendors, volunteers,
Good.
yeah, yada yada for each. And I was gonna use some of just what happened last year, not for convocation, but like for other ones like this one, the one in July. It's kind of like we can use some of the stuff like the vendors, how much we paid for the kid zone and stuff like that to give it a macro number, Ivano?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can do that and then just tie it back into this ballpark, the total figure that we have here.
I think you got your events kind of planned out nicely.
Thank you.
I like how it's shaping up. I think you got to nail down, you know, bigger than a bread box, smaller than a Ferrari when it comes to, and then figure out, what does that get you in terms of what you want to do? Because I hear what you're describing, what you want to do. I'm not sure. There could be a budget for it. I'm not sure. It's a trade-off, I think, at some point when you start dealing with the dollars. It's what can we afford? Because I think, I tell you where my head is at. I'm already starting to get that bit of that pushback on the levy discussion. I think everyone understands that it's a big ticket item in terms of topic, but people are kind of sitting back wondering what the number is going to be. And I think right now, the way we're sitting, it's more than last year being the 2019 kind of number, but it's less than what our ask was last year. So that seems to make people comfortable. The question is how close to last year's proposed number are we going to be?
Okay.
So for example, we're sitting at about 400,000 now. Our last year ask was 600.
And our actual was 268.
Yeah, about 300.
No, 268.
Yeah, okay, 300. I'm rounding.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's a big
macro.
round.
You're rounding what we don't have.
So all of a sudden now we're going up $130,000 from last year. I'm sure there's going to be some who would say, why are you going up at all? And again, it comes down to what are you getting for your dollar? So, I mean, this whole piece about drumming up convocation is a much bigger event than what it has been, with a bigger impact on the downtown, has to account for something. That has to be seen as a benefit. if not for every downtown business, certainly for quite a few. So I think that's big. I think the Troubadour series, I keep harping on this, but if this goes, and when it goes rather, and that becomes a draw for the downtown, then everybody wins. So, but there's an expense to that if the BIA continues to sponsor it or co-sponsor it, which I think we should at whatever amount. So those things represent additional costs from last year, and they have to be communicated and seen by the members as being an inherently good thing that's worth a slight rise in the levy, whatever that is. So that's where we sit right now, but we have to nail down a budget, and then we have to be prepared to communicate that clearly so people will say, yeah, we need to go in this direction. And last point, please remember that when the levy discussion came through last year, that a number on city council may have been in favor of it, but preferred to see it layered in over 2 or even 3 years. So that wasn't our belief, and it didn't work out that way for the BIA. But I think we need to be cognizant of what the first year layer in amount maximum will be to be acceptable. And that comes down to what are we getting for the additional money in terms of events and impact. Anyway, those are my 2 cents worth. And we're also talking about an executive director, somebody to stick handle this, if I can use the Memorial Cup tie-in. So all of these things have to be thought about and brought forward. I think your ideas and what the committee's come up with here are great, and today is all about nailing down some better than ballpark numbers so that we can put together a coherent budget ask.
Right. So Ivano, going back to your point, I think I said macro earlier, but I will get the micro numbers to add back into this this larger number here.
Yeah, I like your lineup. I think you got something there. I'm trying to figure out how much we have to upsell to the membership. I think Rick hits on the valid points. You gotta show the community, our members, that there's value in this. And it really ultimately, you got it right. It ultimately comes down to how many people show up downtown, whether they're staying at the hotel, grabbing dinner, seeing a business partner, or walking the retail circuit, or just hanging around the areas downtown in terms of parks and rec or whatever's down there. I think that's going to be our sell. Anybody who argues against it just doesn't want downtown numbers. That's all.
Yeah.
We're going to get a hard push from the anti-taxers, the people who just don't believe in tax, period. But that's a political agenda, and that's fine. We'll deal with that. We're not going to be 100% supported on this stuff. But for the most part, I think all our members who have a business, run a business, see a value in downtown traffic in terms of walking people. I think we'll see all of this as a good thing.
All right. Okay, so I'll put that down, note to self. So next is the July, and for a long time, I envisioned most of our events are just very flat, and we just need some wow events where people just want to come out. They know this is happening, and it's like, I went last year and I'm going again this year, and it's just, I don't know, it speaks to the discover the vibe of our downtown. And I mean, sometimes I don't know. Anyways, so what I had in mind is, with music and food are 2 things you can never go wrong. People love music. Once they have music, they're happy, they're dancing. You give them food, it's even better. So I was thinking the Oshawa International Music and Food Truck Festival, where we'll garner most of our revenues from these food trucks. We have the food trucks. What I was thinking is maybe have 2 stages, maybe one in the Avanti's parking lot, maybe one at Memorial Park, where we'll have different types of music being played, because we're making it international. So we'll have some Latin music, some Caribbean music, some European whatever, some Asian flavor on these 2 different stages and it's going to change. So it's going to change out periodically. We're going to have the Kids Craze zone stationed throughout, where maybe close by to the stages or somewhere there, whatever is feasible. We'll have to tie in on where these things could be set up for the kids, the face painting, the bouncy castle, whatever. charge $3 a wristband per child or 4 bands for $10, it's revenue back into the BIA. So with these 2 stages, the music playing, the different types of music, or if we want to bring in some live music acts as well from our local musicians, that will fit into these, they can play something that fit into one of these categories. And we're going to have our Canadian American whatever category as well. Then maybe from about when it starts getting dusk-ish, we want to, you know, tame it down a bit. So from about maybe 8:30, what we can have is something of a more community inclusive type of vibe, where maybe some people might not have come out for the international food trucks, trying all the different foods, listening to the different music, walking through the streets of downtown. Maybe they want a little quieter night. They sit down at one of the stages that we've set up out of the 2 stages, whether it be Memorial Park or Avanti's parking lot. We can have a community karaoke corner where, you know, we get the karaoke machine, the community can come, pull up with their lawn chairs, sit, they can sing. We can have prizes and giveaways for best song, singer, whatever the prize is, I don't know, where we get sponsorships. The other stage could have a community bingo, same thing. They pull up their lawn chair, they want to come. You have a bingo from 8:30 to 10. And the bingo tickets are sold from the BIA. They can do it in advance or purchase it at the event, like $5 a ticket, $5 for 2 tickets, I don't know. But it's revenue coming into the BIA again.
Okay, so I have a couple of concerns. Karaoke corners. Many of our pubs already do karaoke, so we're taking business from them if we do that. It might be something to convince people to go there. 10 o'clock is too late at night for the music and stuff. We have to be very careful of the sound bylaws and stuff. And the community bingo, I think would be better during the day, especially because we have a number of seniors that live in the downtown and we'd have a huge draw from them. And then the other thing is, I'm unclear, is this 1 day, multiple days?
I'm thinking it could be 2-day event.
Okay, so like a Saturday, Sunday? So we
Saturday, Sunday, or Friday night.
okay. So that's fine. Like we could start Friday night and Saturday and Sunday. So it's like 2 nights, but and 2 days. So okay. So this is, I'm just gonna put that Friday, just Sunday. The other thing that I have concerns with, especially right now, is using Memorial Park. And I was going to bring this up for Cars on King because 90% of the issues that we had for the last Cars on King were all related around Memorial Park. I agree, it's great to bring in the car museum, but when you've got little kids witnessing people shooting up and overdosing and stuff, it's not a good thing. And I actually had my hairdresser send me a text saying, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound bitchy here, but this is, I had people from out of town and this is what happened. So I want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Plus with the 2 stages, you've got 2 sound systems. The bandshell has a stage. We'd have to either rent or most likely for the in-kind from the city, use the stage that we use at Cars on King or the one that we were using at Bikes on Bond.
Yeah, those stages are fine.
Yeah, but the sound now is close to 5,000. And then that doesn't include anything for the kids.
How much did we pay? We didn't pay, how much did we pay for the sound the last time? When that technician guy I had reached out to, wasn't it like $300 he had charged?
I think it was 500, and when he found out everything that was needed, he was not happy because I made him stick to excuse me, what he had initially quoted, but he's told me that it would have been more than double. And we usually get them to get the back line, so that has to be included in that as well. Because otherwise we have to go out and pick up and rent the back line and stuff. So it's much easier if we can get the sound guys to do that at the same time. So we can usually get that around 1,000 to 1,500, depending on who we get for the sound. But if we're gonna do Friday, we got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If, you know, 5 is high, I agree. But, you know, even if we look at maybe we can get someone to do for 4. But, you know, that's cutting a really good deal, especially if it's including the back line. Then we, you know, we have to figure out a storage place for the back line because they're not going to want to have to pack all of that up and take it, right? The band shell is easy. They can store everything there. They can lock it in. But at Avanti's, it's not as easy unless it's brought all to the office here, which is possible.
So one additional point, and I'm not sure yet how he's going to do this. I support his goal in all this, but the mayor has said this situation, Memorial Park, will not happen next April. And again, I'm not sure how he's going to do that, but there has to be some pretty significant changes in order to bring that about. So if that in fact is the case, and if we witness a much lower, if hardly visible impact on Memorial Park by April, then by the time July rolls around, then
It'd be good.
those, they either come back or we have the same processes to keep them oriented someplace else. So that's just something to throw into the mix. I'm not sure we'll be in the same situation with Memorial Park that we were last time.
Well, and, you know, to be honest, when we used Memorial Park itself for Summerfest, we didn't really have the issues. The main issue that we had was at the end of the night, because we were actually there at 7 a.m. looking for needles and paraphernalia and found nothing, which was great. Yeah. And it was a couple of people that moved in as we were starting to close up and were harassing the summer students. And, you know, 2 Canadian Protections credit, they were volunteering, helping move money, and they came and stood there and basically, you know, took the brunt of it while the students were cleaning up, versus the paid security that were just standing back watching, not doing anything. So, you know, if it's all in Memorial Park, I think it's better than what we did with Cars on King, where it was on the side streets, right? If we're going to use Memorial Park, we have to use Memorial Park, I think is what I'm trying to say, rather than just, you know, the sidelines.
All right. Yeah. At some point, it would be nice if we can get that Memorial Park barricaded so we have some kind of control on what's going on in there. But that's a Rick and City issue.
Yeah, and it's not very inviting then. Okay, so looking at what you're saying.
So then the other thing is, sorry, I just wanted to add as well, like for this, when we have the few street closures or whatever, it's in the middle of summer as well, July, we could invite our memberships or businesses to, if they want to have the sidewalk patios and they want to offer, I don't know, their own little food samplers or different things, then they're welcome to do so.
So it's, sorry, because I was talking with Ivano for a second. Are you with this including road closures?
Well, it's going to have feet on the street. How else are people going to go through the streets with the food trucks and the music? It's the same as
Okay, so well then I guess I just need to get an idea. Are we looking at Bikes on Bond road closures or Cars on King road closures?
And
more of the Cars on King.
We can get exempt. We're fine. I'm not worried about the food trucks. So I'm thinking that we sort of look at a Bikes on Bond sort of closure versus the Cars on King.
Okay, why is that?
Because if you have the Cars on King sort of closure, the price now jumps for the one day, just for the Friday alone, jumps $5,000 to $6,000 for the police.
Okay.
Okay. If we do a Bikes on Bond sort of closure, there are alternative routes for traffic that we're not impacting so much. Like we are impacting King Street, but you know, you've got Athol and you have Simcoe still open then.
Okay.
Majorly important because once you close Simcoe and King, you get so much congestion, and it's a nightmare. Especially,
Okay, yeah, so we can do that then if that's more feasible. Sure, it doesn't matter. I had just the Curzon King route seemed nice, but we can do the bond route. It's no problem. With this event, I was hoping that most of our revenues would of course come in from the food trucks. Then we would have additional revenues coming in from other vendors that might be there, maybe selling, arts and crafts or whatever it is that they're doing.
yeah,
Then
so I think the Bikes on Bond closure actually accommodates that because we've got Salina, Ontario, Albert, we can use Victoria Street, and we have King from Simcoe to Mary. So that encompasses quite a bit.
Okay.
It's the north south.
What,
Simcoe to Mary's east west. What was the north south dimension?
Ontario, and then Salina and Albert. So we get those side streets. With that though, I'm not certain that we would need Memorial Park.
Where else can we add a stage, Ange?
Why would we need two stages? Like you're saying Avanti's for the one stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering why we would need two stages.
Just so we have like the different music playing at different times and then we switch it out because we're trying to like encompass an inclusive vibe. Like if we have Asian music here, maybe not everybody wants to hear Asian music on this side. They can go over on the other side of town, so to speak, not literally, but on the other side and listen to maybe some.
If it's international and we're doing all types of different music, we're just gonna, in my opinion, we should be slotting different times for different types of music.
So you just think switch it out in just the one area. So then, okay.
So I see, yeah. So what I see, Andrea, this year, just doing like the Bikes on Bond closure, or we just do the Memorial Park, one of the two, and we grow from there. Right? So let everyone get a taste of it for the first year and then let it grow.
So here's something
Okay.
to remember, Andrea. We have a levy coming through with this. So the more that we can compress this and be effective and keep the costs down, the greater the chance that we'll have a reduced increase on the levy in order to make people buy in. If this goes really well and everybody says, man, this should have been bigger, we should have had blah, blah, great, then there's the argument to raise the levy up till the next year to accommodate that. But I think we need to be cognizant of the size of the levy throughout all of this.
Okay, I can respect that. All right, so we can do those suggestions. That's why we have these meetings.
We can look at, and I'm just quickly in my head trying to balance which would be better. For our members, the better one is the Bikes on Bond footprint.
Okay.
And cost-wise, I'm looking at it, it's about the same. We'd have road closures, which is in-kind services, and the stage in-kind services. Memorial Park, we would have in-kind services. So, they're probably about the same.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we just need to set a dollar value towards this. I think well, no, that dollar value is now out of whack. That was looking at sorry, Ivano had written stuff on the wall, just sort of ideas of dollars and stuff. And when it was both, it jumped.
So can I use the numbers from Bikes on Bonds for last year?
What was the number for last year for Bikes on Bond?
I'll have to look it up. Oh, you don't have the.
Thousands?
I have to go back in my emails here.
Because what are our hard costs? Our hard costs are going to be the musicians, if we're paying them anything. We might be able to get service club, like approach the Fiesta clubs and have them come and do and perform at no charge.
They would be able to perform different ethnical music,
You say
Latin music, some. Okay. I'm just saying because I was thinking the other thing we can just have one DJ, if that's cheaper, and then maybe just one or two musical live acts in between.
Well, I think if we get if we can get some of the Fiesta clubs to play, then that's going to reduce the cost, right?
Okay.
So, and the, you know, like we have, there's a number, like the Portuguese club, there's the German club, there's a number of Greek clubs, there's the Italian club.
Well, I think we also need to remember that Fiesta is one thing where they're performing at their pavilion and the people are buying food and it's a fundraiser for the pavilion. If it's not during Fiesta and it's at an event like this, there should still be a good honorarium that these performers could take back to their, because they have overhead too, and
Yeah,
it makes it difficult.
and
for
we can try to
Fiesta.
build that in, or we can try to get sponsors for that.
Yep.
But, you know, in terms of those sort of logistics, we can work out later.
Yep.
It's just, sorry, Taylor.
We can try and turn it around too in like climate so that it's either at the end or the beginning of Fiesta week.
No, Fiesta week is Father's Day. Yeah, so you have,
Wait, Angela, was it last year we moved Bikes on Bonds away? So it would have been the year before.
okay, so yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so I have to do some digging. It wasn't, I just remember it was last year we moved
Yeah, and
that.
I think it was like 6,000 or 7,000, but I think we might need more just because we will, because it's a 2-day event, right?
Yeah, okay. And what I'm really hoping is that having these food trucks will offset some of these costs, for the food trucks, the vendors, and then just having this community bingo and the wristbands for the kids.
Okay, so let's try to put a dollar value to this. So
Let's go with 7,000. Is that
no, I feel more
Much?
comfortable with 10.
10?
Yeah.
Better be able to bring something back that go cash.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can say 10, but if we can get under, that's even better.
Okay.
So I would like to welcome Anne, and I believe that's Greg. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
For some reason in our calendar it said 8 in the calendar invite that went out. So we're actually on. Well, we've just finished the July one, so we can do a quick recap if you guys like.
Sure.
Okay.
Please. Did you started at 8?
Yeah, because most people showed up and it was just like a shock to our system, at least mine.
Tell you what, we can give you a brief recap at the end of the meeting, just so that you're not out of the loop.
Okay.
Are you okay with that, Greg?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I guess that's the July one. So August,
Yeah, so August, sorry, I was still trying to go back in my emails to find the old,
I believe it was 6,000 for bikes on bond in the past.
okay, no problem. Okay, so August is the Cars on King with the Kids on King, remains the same.
Wait,
Assembly
so-
Park-
It's not going to remain the same because I would like to move the kid zone from
Okay.
the Memorial Park area into a volunteer parking lot.
Oh, okay. What I mean remain the same in terms of budget and all
Oh,
the events that we're having involved in it. So, okay, we can move the Kids zone, no
Yeah,
problem.
I'll talk to you about some of the details later then, but budget-wise, which was what, 20,000? Or 30,000?
No, I think it was 20, and it wasn't 30.
So I just have a quick question.
Yes.
What's the buy-in for Avantis to have their parking lot taken away for this event?
They can't
Isn't
use it.
lease Parking?
They can't use it anyways. It's totally shut off. We won't allow
Because there
cars
won't
in.
be Vehicular traffic.
No, and we actually get asked to put something in there.
Okay, cool, thank you. That clarifies.
So I think it was the last Apple meeting though, Ivano, and myself and Greg had a fairly long discussion in that you were kind of in and out about Cars on King and wanting to extend it down to the
museum?
museum.
That'll be a later date.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be in the details.
I wasn't sure if there was any extra.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Ange.
So it was basically keeping the exact same footprint as Cars on King last time.
Uh-huh.
which I'm sort of opposed to. But part of it is I'm not quite so much opposed anymore, as long as we keep it out of Memorial Park at all.
Oh, you meant the extension down on Simcoe.
Well, the main taxing thing, which we're really going to need help with, if we do that, is volunteers. And people are going to have to actively be out there getting volunteers. Most people don't realize that that extension puts an extra at least 30 volunteers that we needed.
So if we dial back that extension, now that the Kids on King is in the Avanti's parking lot,
I think we can discuss this later. Like, I have
Okay.
a better handle on how to get volunteers now that my son is going into grade 9. I can conscript some of his friends, and hopefully they can conscript some of their brothers and sisters. But to be quite honest, it was extremely taxing, and I had a 12 and 13-year-old out there manning a station, and I allowed that because they were my kids and I know how responsible they are. But that's how taxed we were for volunteers that day. So we really need to be careful of that. And there's a huge, well, not a huge, but it's an additional close to $3,000. Or maybe it wasn't 3,000, maybe it was only 1,500. There is an additional cost for the police for that as well. So we just have to bear in mind for that.
I think what we have to counter that or balance that with is, what's the benefit to the event by having the Canadian Automotive Museum directly involved?
Well, and it's not even just that. It's, we increase the number of cars. We just have to be mindful of those, and I do like their housekeeping sort of things, but those are really important ones, just like the volunteer safety and, you know, and the hard cost of the police. That's a discussion for another day. If we're keeping the budget the same that it was, I believe last year that was budgeted in. So
Out of curiosity, Angela, how much does it cost to run the Kids Zone? Like, how much do we invest in that particular portion of Cars on King?
upwards of 5,000.
Okay.
Okay. I know that we're looking at monetizing that in the sense of now we're going to be selling wristbands for the kids to come in and be in the Kids Zone. But as I said, this is a discussion for later. And my main concern, Greg, which you didn't hear before, was most of the problems because the Kids Zone was down near the museum and near Memorial Park, and in some cases part of Memorial Park, that there was issues with little kids seeing people shooting up and overdosing and stuff.
It's our daily problem at the Canadian Automotive Museum, our daily problem. But I'll tell you one thing that you could do is if you move the Kids Zone inside the museum, then it's indoors and you've got indoor washrooms. It doesn't matter about weather. It would be a whole lot easier. Just rent the museum itself and it would be a lot cheaper than $5,000. We do that, we're Kids Day, where we have 700 people come into the museum. And Kids Day, we have like a balloon man and
Okay, we'll discuss this later. I like that idea. So
yeah, we can have two zones as well. You know, so the kids can run from one to the other. But yeah, well, let's lock down on that on another day.
perfect. Okay.
So that brings us to the September event, and maybe here, Greg, you'll be brought up to speed on what we were including you on for some of the few some prior events that you weren't here for at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So for the Oshawa General Street Fest, again, which is another partnered event with the city, we have these package options that we had in mind where visitors into the city can buy their package for their stay, whether it's 1 night hotel stay or 2 nights for how many number of guests, then that's to be determined. The hotels that we're going to partner with will give us the best price possible for the number of nights and the number of guests. We'll package that with you, Greg, for your downtown Oshawa walking tour.
Okay.
Whatever best price you give for that, we'll
Right.
put that in as a package. Now with the walking tour, they also have option for pub crawl tickets from our downtown businesses, the breweries, the bars that want to participate, maybe given for, I don't know, like a ticket to have a sample of beer or an appetizer or whatever that might be. We'll determine that later. And in that package as well is 15% off dinner and lunch at these participating restaurants. So that's the package. I don't know if anybody else have any other ideas around the package. So Greg, we had included you on a few of these packages. So these packages we're going to offer with the Oshawa General Street Fest. Anytime there's some kind of like tourism activity happening downtown with these events, like the General Street Fest, the Convocation Month, the Memorial Cup weekend.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and these are in addition to your other walking tours that you have throughout the year, but we're looking to partner events and bring more street on the feet and make our stuff more interesting to what we're offering.
Yeah,
And
sure.
as well for the Oshawa General Street Fest, some street events that I have, and maybe we'll look at partnering or getting sponsorship from the city as well, since they're the ones that originated with this idea, is having like a beer garden with a beer drinking competition, having a puck-off comp where maybe we can have like the goalie and have different people come and try to like score on the goalie, that kind of idea, some vendors, and I don't know if anybody else have any other ideas.
Okay, so the beer garden will be run by the Tribute Center.
Okay.
So, and they take care of all of that because it's from, the liquor license is extended from the restaurant that's there, which escapes me the name right now. The puck-off competitions, we're not going to get any general players to be doing that because they're all getting ready for the game. And they don't even show up. Last year they tried to coordinate to have them all show up at the same time and arrive on the bus, and that didn't happen.
Could we get the Ontario or the Oshawa Minor Hockey Association to provide goalies for that?
Well, I'm thinking that could be part of like a kid's activity,
Yeah.
right?
You could just get people to sign up off the street and try to goaltend. I mean, you could feature like an Ontario Tech hockey goalie or.
I think that there was something that, some sort of kids thing that happened last time with that. The vendors, we were in talks with Picks and Giggles to do the vendors, and it was a much larger footprint with them doing that, which I think we should do again. And then I know that we had 3 or 4 food trucks that were at the Oshawa General Street Fest the last time. So I don't know if we want to have food trucks there again, or because it's probably better to have a option of food there as well.
Yeah, so definitely food. Again, my thing is always centered around food and music. It makes people happy. Well, I know it makes me happy to be drinking and dancing or eating and dancing. So
just put it on the music at the next
yeah, so
again, what sort of dollar value are we looking at?
so for this, since the beer garden they covered, that is I would say we put maybe 4,000.
Can we say 5?
Sure, we can always overstate.
Add on that one, I really think you should get some like past generals, like Eric Lindros or whoever we can get to come and do like little meet and greets and like autographs. And usually there's a small cost involved in that, but that would be great to see some of the alumni and to have more of a personal connection with them.
So we can check to see. I think that they had tried last time, but I'm not 100% sure. And I know that they
Always try again. Nothing beats persistency.
So we have several generals in the Sports Hall of Fame. So to incorporate the Sports Hall of Fame in this, I think would be.
can't.
Yeah, why not?
Unless they're bringing stuff outside, we can't. Because no one can, no, because they're
No,
getting,
okay, so
they're
what
getting
I'm
it
talking about
prepared.
is using them to connect with members of the Sports Hall of Fame who are
Yes.
generals.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
my.
Okay, so yeah, we can do that, but we can't allow people in. They wouldn't even allow us to use the bathrooms.
Yeah, I wasn't even. thinking
Just
about it.
because of them trying to prepare the whole
Pre-game.
facilities.
I know, I
right?
totally
So-
get that. My point was just,
Yeah.
you know, if the Sports Hall of Fame contacts these past generals, it
Yeah.
might be easier to get them.
Well, can't we set it? Could they have a spot like set up outside, maybe around like
Yep.
on the outskirts of the beer garden or thereof?
Yeah, we can definitely have them out there as a vendor or whatever, and
Yeah, so when
offer a
they do
space.
go in the game,
That's
they
right.
do go through the hall.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, I'm just saying though, we can't let them go inside the
Correct.
building to do that.
Yep.
Because I know that that's gonna be a hard no, just from our meetings last year.
No problem.
Okay, so
Okay.
before we leave September, I'm going to ask about the Butter Tart Festival.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about that quickly. So sorry, Angela, who puts on the Butter Tart Festival?
Well, it was always co-hosted between the BIA and one of the BIA members.
Okay, so
And what it cost the BIA generally was time and advertising mainly.
right, and so what was our benefit in this Butter Tart Festival, and what's the benefit of our other members in this Butter Tart Festival?
Drawing people downtown. Not sure if you like our last Butter Tart Festival, we actually had, because it was during the election, but we had the person that was running for the NDP make a stop at the Butter Tart Festival. Like they made it one of their destinations and it was on TV.
Yeah, I understand that. How many feet on the street did it bring to number one, to the downtown, and number two, to the businesses?
Well, to the businesses, you never know, right? Because we're not following people to see where they're going. But I would say there was probably during the day at least 5,000 people that stopped in for Butter Tarts.
5,000.
Cheesecake and the other vendors.
In the first year, it sell out like instantly.
Yeah, the first year sold out like super fast.
2 hours.
This year was better. And like, I think this is like the third or fourth year or something. And it's been pretty good.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think that some of the other businesses were offered tables for free at this. So
Yeah,
if they want to participate and they have a bakery or a restaurant or whatever, that they could make their own butter tarts and they would get a free table. I believe
Yeah.
it was something like that, or a very
Well,
cheap table.
so basically it works out being free, but for our BI members, we charge them like $50. And once they set up, they get their money back.
Right.
We've done that because if you don't get skin in the game from them, they just don't show.
Yeah.
And even at that, you still get some that just don't show, but the rule is if they've set up, then they get their money back.
What's the
Okay. So Angela, what's the cost to us for co-hosting this event?
Maximum $1,000.
And what do we get on a return of that 1,000?
5,000 people in the downtown.
So let me ask you this, because I've been.
Great social media exposure.
So what's the time frame for this event? When does it start? When does it finish?
9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, so I guess my point is, do we have to curtail it at 4 or could it go later and get into the whole evening restaurant, music, end of the day?
I'm going to say only till 4 because some of these people that are there then go home and start baking right away again for their next Butter Tart festivals.
Yeah, they're up at like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
So going to like 6 or 7 or 8 p.m.
it's
it'd be
going to,
hard.
Sorry, is this held on like what day of the week is this? A Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
it's a Saturday
Oh, a Saturday.
and it's always in September.
Okay.
And it's in September because it doesn't conflict with any of the other Butter Tart festivals. And it's our member who tells us when it is because she's in tune with all of that because she attends all the other Butter Tart festivals.
So what we could do then is simply piggyback on it information-wise and say, you know, it might close at 4, but if you want to consider staying downtown, having dinner, there's dinner and live music in the evening. So that's my thing there is to try and
Yes.
get people who come to stay longer, not necessarily the vendors. I understand their business.
Yeah, but a lot of people come throughout the day. Like I know one of the ones that I attended, I was actually off, but I had a friend from the States.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, let's go down. And we were there probably for 2 hours because she'd never had Butter Tarts before. Yeah. But, you know, after that, and a lot of people want to bring their kids,
Yeah.
right? Because even if there aren't kids activities, we have like face painter that usually shows up. But people, it's a nice trip for the day. And some of these vendors for Butter
Do we collect, sorry, Anne, not to cut you off, sorry, one quick question before I forget. Do we collect money from these vendors that are there?
Yes,
Through the BIA? Okay, sorry.
So I'm not going to say 100% through the BIA just because at this point, we do not take e-transfers, but we will be setting that up. So at that point, then yes, we'll be accepting 100% of this stuff. And we do sign an MOU with the member that they get 50% of the vendor fees.
So
Okay.
I guess my only point is this. I know we've done a butter tart festival to a certain scheduled detail before. What I'm saying is, let's look at a way that we can expand the event, not for the vendors, but for the people coming, that they have the choice that if they take their kids home after the butter tart festival and get a babysitter, they might want to come back down for dinner and
So-
music. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Just let them know what else is going on.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we see if we can get one or two of the bands from the Troubadour series to come and
Play.
perform? Yeah, exactly, play. And then we can have a sign right beside them saying, visit us tonight. At these locations, we have the Troubadour series
Yeah, so you add
happening.
music to the butter tart festival.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it.
So is everyone okay with that?
That sounds nice, yeah.
Okay, so are we okay with me saying 1,000? We'll probably not end up spending anything out of that budget because we get vendor fees back.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Sorry, what date in September is this?
I'm not 100% sure. It's
Okay, that's fine. You can let me know after.
usually before the Oshawa General Street Fest. Because the Oshawa General Street Fest tends to be the last weekend in September, but sometimes it's the first weekend in October. They never really know because they're not sure of when their home date is, their first home date. But the Butter Tart Festival is always before.
Angela, do you guys set up a table for the BIA down at the Butter Tart Festival?
Generally, no. But we're setting things up. Like we're making sure that the Butter Tart guys, like we have volunteers there that help.
Okay, just because I was thinking if there was something, if we had a table,
Yeah.
or even if we had a volunteer or somebody, that we could have all the pamphlets for things that you could do downtown. You know, you've got the art gallery downtown, you've got our museum downtown, you've got even the restaurants, if they have like their own little flyer or a menu. Sometimes people just see a menu and they go, oh, well, I'd try that for $15 or whatever the amount might be. It just might be a way to do it, even if they're not manned, even a table with them set out and saying, oh, this is what's downtown BIA.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I like that. And also have like some of our upcoming events as well thrown on there.
Right, and people might decide, hey, you know, there's an art gallery downtown and there's a car museum downtown and I can go get something to eat. That makes a whole day of my trip that would have been 1 hour to the Butter Tart Festival or less.
okay, so being cognizant of time, let's move on to October.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that idea, Greg. I like that. Okay, so October, Nightmare on Bond Street, haunted house. We charge, enter $5, enter at your own risk to the haunted house. It's revenue being brought back in and offset for events. Then I was thinking, I'm not sure where I was going with these Witches Cauldron, Ghost Host, Skeleton Site, Mummy's Mansion. I'm not sure. Angela, is this Nightmare on Bond? Are we thinking of a one-day event or a weekend event?
Okay, can I tell you my idea for Nightmare on Bond?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, because my idea is kind of elaborate. So,
Well, you're the one doing the work, so sure.
yeah, well, and I am not opposed to the charging. I think it should probably be more, and that we should do half of it goes to like the John Howard Society, and I'm picking them specifically. So, the big parking lot beside the courthouse is parking lot 19. So my idea is that we would have like a walking tour, or not a walking tour, but like a maze. And that's where your witches, cauldron, ghosts, skeletons, things like that. So you could have pop-outs. So my idea is that it would start at 1, and from 1 to 5, it's kid friendly. So you've got people that, you know, and John Howard Society does this as a fright night. And so they have lots of experience. And, you know, they use this magic word. So if you're getting afraid, you just say chicken, because all monsters are afraid of chickens. And that tells the people that are doing the jump scares not to jump out, but to slowly appear so the kids can see them and stuff. So it's tame. When they come out at the end, my idea was to have like an army vehicle, like a Jeep or something, where they're pulled on to the Jeep as they're being chased by zombies. And then they get driven around. So that would come out on, geez, I can't remember the name of that street.
William?
No, the other one.
Richmond?
Carriage.
No. The other, on the other side.
Division.
Division. So they'd go down Division, then they turn on Bond, and then they would be let off in front of the courthouse. So then they get their sort of like wagon tour. So during the day, maybe we could do a horse-drawn wagon, except that you can't have horses, but like maybe a tractor ride or something. At night, you could, at 5 o'clock when it changes for the more adult crowd, which goes from 5 to 9, where you have more jump scares and stuff, then you could have it more of like a Jeep or something. And work, and that way we're also working with the, not the armory, but the,
Regiment Museum.
yes,
Tank museum.
yeah. So then we're involving more community partners with that.
Yeah. So I like the idea of the Jeep and the mummies chasing for the kids, but I'm not sure if the adults might be into that too much.
They will be.
I'll tell you, they have a place called The Farm out in like Coburg area, and they have something very similar. You get on a truck, you drive around, and there's all these things that pop out at you. And there was a 2-hour lineup, and I waited in it. So people are willing to pay. I was willing to pay to get scared.
And the first night I went to Fright Night, I was in the lineup for over 2 hours. Okay. So there's no shortage of people that want to do something like this, right?
$15 for 40 minutes is what it costs too.
Yeah, that's fine. We're definitely charging. I know that because our events need to bring in some sort of money to offset whatever we're going in. I mean, we're living in 2020. No one hosts anything for free anymore. Everything costs money. So I mean, and I think people are willing to pay a nominal price to have some fun. I mean, so yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so the other thing is that we can tie in the universities and DC because we've had conversations with them, so we can get them to help us with vendors or different stations. And that is like the alumni and the student associations.
Yep, the more the merrier. I'm all for collaboration. Perfect.
Well, I have another collaboration for you, which won't cost the BIA anything. The Canadian Automotive Museum is actually haunted. We were on City TV. There's ghosts in the Canadian Automotive Museum. And so we have the ghost hunters, apparently. They come all the way down to see us, and they walk around, and they charge like, I don't know, 20 or 25 bucks to walk around and find ghosts. Now, I haven't found any ghosts yet, but apparently there's ghosts in the Canadian Automotive Museum, and people have caught pictures of them. So we keep getting people still, like 2 years after that article went in and go, where are the ghosts? Like, we keep them in the back room. So anyways, the museum has this partnership with this ghost hunters group. So if we could get them to come during the same time as your Fright Night, maybe what you guys could do is cross promote that, and it wouldn't cost you guys anything. We could take in the revenue, and it would just give you one more event that's happening at the same time to draw people downtown.
So
it doesn't matter. Of course, we can advertise for that.
Yeah. So actually, my idea would be for us to connect with them, have them do a sort of ghost tour downtown and end up at the museum.
Exactly, because if there's multiple haunted spots in downtown Oshawa, then they can walk past each one, tell a bit about the history, the ghost story.
Okay, hold on, guys. Let me go through my list because that's in there on my list. So hold on, and then maybe this stuff can come. So pause with that for 1 second, Taylor. So after the witch's cauldron, the ghost is host. What I was thinking with those, Angela, was like different stations set up with those different costume scares, maybe where we can have, I don't know if the restaurants wanted to participate, food or different maybe snacks or cookies that the kids can decorate in accordance to those things, but whatever, we can scratch those sites all together. The haunted pumpkin hunt is what Taylor was just going to, where they can have a history of downtown. So what we can have is these haunted pumpkin house, almost something like the Amazing Race kind of thing, where they get a thing with clues and they go around the downtown. We give them the clue according to the history of downtown, or we can give them a little clue, oh, this place or this site, blah, 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 whatever. And they're like, oh,
I'm not going to do
idea.
that. I, as a parent, I'm not going to do that. You might get more uptake in the 5 to 9, but for the other part, like the 1 to 5, you're not going to get any uptake in that.
And why?
Are you asking Andrea
Yeah,
or me?
No, why are you not gonna get the uptake? Just
Why?
so we're-
Because I've got all these other activities in this one centralized location. I'm not going to go do that. What we could do,
Well, you don't have to do it with them. What I'm saying is you give them the sheet with the clues. They have to fill in the answer. So they go around to wherever they think it might be. And with the pumpkins that we're gonna have from the pumpkin carving contest, we'll place one of those pumpkin at each site. They can like either write the number that's in the pumpkin or on the pumpkin or something back on their clue sheet. So
You know, I'll give you a good example of how this works really well. We've been doing it for the last couple of years because it's cheap. We just put in like 3 hidden animals, very much like a clue, and the kids go around and they are like 1 to 3, and they're up to 5, 6, 7, and even have adults do it. Hey, look, I found the frog, and then they put they say where it is and they get a little prize at the end, right? So we had thousands of people come through and do this, and they've posted about it on TripAdvisor about how they got a stupid pencil eraser. It was a silly little freebie. But what we could do is everybody who completes the little walk around, say there's 10 clues or 5 clues, and they get them all, they get their name in a raffle. And if we pull your name, you get a little bit of a better prize. You know,
yeah,
like
something.
I can arrange to get them tickets to the automotive museum or
let's not
something.
get drawn down in the nitty gritty of stuff. We can work those details out. Because again, we need to try and figure out some sort of cost, right? Because there's all sorts of other ideas, which I think we should probably designate one whole events meeting just to discuss this event, right? Because there's tons and tons of ideas. So we do need to figure out what sort of dollar value we want to put to this.
So for your ideas, Angela, we'll need to get your ideas out so we know, because what else costs money? We're definitely going to need money for the truck that you want to chase around.
Well, I'm thinking gas.
What other ideas did you have in mind so we can determine if the dollar value needed to be added to them?
Most of our ideas were centralized in that location, because one of the partners that we haven't used a lot or at all is the YMCA. And they were really interested in being involved. So we could do things in there. So we could have, you know, an indoor sort of kids center in there.
Could you have the scavenger hunt inside?
Well,
there?
actually, my idea for the scavenger hunt was actually in the maze. So, which is fine. Like, those are all details that we can figure out. So our idea initially was that we would have the Y, parking lot 18, Carriage Street, and that other parking lot 19 would be the centralized location. The one thing that we were also going to do is anyone who had a wristband, talk to like the Junction, the Music Hall, etc. That for afterwards, because I'm assuming many students will come down, that they, for any cover, they get like $1 off or something. So then we are drawing people into the downtown, but it's an older crowd that's more likely to go and spend more disposable income. And it leaves for 5 o'clock time frame was leaving it time for the families to go back to their own neighborhoods.
And the music hall's non-existent.
No, but it will be the Biltmore. Yeah. So that was a way of involving the other locations in the downtown. So like I said, so, you know, I think if we had, I believe our budget was like 10,000 last year, excuse me. So
I don't see it being so much though for what we're doing.
You have to pay for all of the hay, all of the corn stalks, any kind of stuff like that to decorate the maze.
well, we might not have to pay for it. We might have to borrow, but we might have to pay for transportation.
Yeah.
There was also entertainment too, right? So there was, whether it be like the buskers or whatever. So there are some hard costs, right? We're probably going to have security. So it's another hard cost. And because it's a city parking lot, that means that we have to use the city security.
Do we need to hire security with the city's security that's already being paid for downtown? The
Yes, we
100,000.
do. So if we, well, it's a different security company.
Okay.
We have to use the security company that the city is using, which frustrates the hell out of me, but for specific reasons. But we do have to use their security. So, you know, even if we could get a better deal or even have it donated by another company for a sponsorship, we can't use it.
Really? Is
Yeah,
there nothing that can be done about that, Rick?
Sorry, what?
Is there
No.
anything that could be done about that? Is there any kind of way to get, circumvent that? I know that's always
no,
better
it's
easier
a
said than done.
contract it's written in the contract for the security company with the city. that
Okay.
Anything that happens on city property, they get first bid on it.
Oh, okay.
So that's
shame,
unfortunately
but yeah.
the way it is.
And right now it's CDN doing that.
No, CDN is doing something else
They're doing city property in the BIA.
in the BIA.
Yeah.
But if I was to rent Memorial Park, I would probably still have to use the G4.
I don't see why. They're both city companies. I mean, CDN now is a city paid.
The short-term
We're only
contract.
going to the end of September and then
Oh.
it'll be evaluated. And
Yeah.
that
Okay.
is an additional cost over and above city security. So anyway, that's
Yeah.
details. That's good question. And we need to verify that for later.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as costs go to, who are the people who are jumping out? Is it volunteers? Do we have to
Volunteers.
pay actors?
No, it's volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's why we want the John Howard Society involved, because they do this all the time. And, you know, they have the expertise. They have a bank of volunteers that they get to do that all the time. So if you think 10,000 is too high, we can lower it. I'm just, you know, we need to make sure we've got for signage. Yeah, like I'm kind of the opinion it's better to start with a higher. If we don't use that, wonderful, right?
I think $7,000.
So $7,000, we're gonna have to have some sort of sound system, which we've got a small one, but we have to buy a mic for. The entertainers, we're gonna have to pay.
What entertainers? Like, this is strictly haunted stuff, like Halloween stuff. We get some speakers with some and all these things.
No, you want to get the kids hyped up, so you want music like the Ghostbusters song and the Monster Mash and things like that. So at the very least, we should have a DJ that's playing stuff during the day for the kids. There's dead silence.
Yeah, because I think that can just be played through like a Bluetooth lineup of something on some speaker that we have.
Are you going to create?
Oh, that's just my idea.
Are you going to create the thing for us? 'Cause
Well, just putting together like a playlist.
just saying, I'm musically inept. So,
You probably, sorry, you must be able to find some satellite. I mean, there's a zillion stations right now. I'm sure you can find Halloween music for kids station that we could probably stream.
Yeah, and put together a playlist, even just put together some songs.
guys, I agree, but I'm just looking at, you know, we need a dollar value. If you're saying 7, that's fine. And that's fine. Like, we just need to figure out what we want to do, right?
Okay,
So we're saying 7?
yes, please.
Okay. Before we get to the last one on your list, well, let's do your last one. It cannot be December. It is in November.
Okay,
Okay, just because Santa Claus Parade is always the weekend following memorial services. And the tree lighting is always the Friday night before the Santa Claus Parade. Traditionally, I'm saying that because I heard that they might be looking at changing that date. Okay, so we need to decide if Bright and Mary will go with tree lighting. So we don't know whether it's going to be November or December, but I believe that they were looking at trying to move it closer to December at least.
yeah, okay. Then I guess, I don't know, this is open for discussion of ideas, of any other
So we always get vendors.
activities that would happen around then. We have those igloos, right, Angela?
Yeah, they've arrived.
Okay, yeah, so we can.
They're a ton. Literally, each crate was over a ton.
All right.
Yeah. So there's going to be costs associated with moving those and setting them up. I saw a quick little video for setting them up and had heart palpitations. We're going to need a team. So at some point we've got to get one out and try to set one up.
Mhm.
Whether that be we convince a member to, if they're hosting something outdoors and want it covered, you know, just as a trial to set one up, that would be great.
How many are there?
There's 4. I don't know what the
Put one
exact
on
dimensions
the
are.
roof and go sleep under the stars with the holiday.
So, you know, they kind of scare me at the moment, but yes, so we do have those 4. You know,
Now, Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea for this year was to also have a festival of lights that kind of kicked off with Brighton Mary, correct?
Yes.
And it was a multi-weekend.
yeah, so that's a different
Thing.
sort of event though,
Yes.
right? So that was more of like a tourism base. So Brighton Mary itself is like vendors and things like that.
Mhm.
The other part was that we were going to put like Christmas bulbs, like giant ones that are like 7-8 feet tall, reindeer, Christmas presents, sort of things like that. Sort of like what Niagara does with their Festival of Lights. So create our own sort of Festival of Lights in Memorial Park. An idea too was to have little huts for vendors. So I'm not sure how that.
We can just, so my idea was just like this one kind of leads the way into all of our, you know, Christmas, December festivities.
Yes.
So once the Brighton Mary's up and running, then we have our igloos up, the Festival of Lights follow. I mean, we can find something to do with our igloos each weekend where you know, people can come down and do something in these igloos or something.
So that depends too on, like the last couple of years, the Brighton Mary have, we've closed Center Street and the igloos would go on Center Street. I'm not sure if they would allow us to put them in Memorial Park. So we'll have to see. Like I said, once we actually get one set up, and let the city events people take a look at it as well, because once they've seen it set up, they can determine whether it's okay to have it set up in Memorial Park or whatever, right?
Angela, are they plug-in? Do they have plug-ins? They require electricity?
As soon as we get one set up, I can answer that.
Okay, because I'm thinking like sometimes they don't all have to be set up at Memorial Park. We can kind of like station them throughout.
You know what? I've already sent an email to Avanti saying, hey, how about having dinner under the stars? Use one of our igloos.
Yeah, we can have them stationed throughout the city so people see
Yeah.
them wherever they might be driving by or different places.
Yeah, so, you know, even if the museum, right, has some sort of event that they want to do maybe outside, they could use that, right? So there's,
Yeah, our particular difficulty is that our parking lot is not fantastic, which is why it's a struggle for car shows. So trying to get that to stand straight would be one of our troubles, and not on top of which we've got all the problems of Memorial Park that unfortunately venture our way.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to leave 4 of those things in Memorial Park. That's just my
That was what I was
feedback.
waiting to make a comment on. Was Memorial Park has treaded downhill, particularly since COVID started, and I mean, just the benches alone. Every day there's an issue. Our biggest complaint is not the museum and it's not anything else. It's about the goings on across the street. And because we're a child-friendly atmosphere where the vast majority of the people who are buying tickets are mothers with children, it does have a concern for them. So they don't want to be in the parking lot. They want to be in the building away from that.
okay, well, we can deal with that later.
Yeah.
So, again, looking at the budget. Any ideas?
15,000.
Okay,
I hear crickets.
so hang on, so that would just be that night, I'm assuming. Because we are not gonna do 2 days. It's a waste of our time. We've tried to do 2 days twice, 2 or 3 times now, and it really is just a waste of our time and resources. For the number of
Yeah, so
people
the one day tying into all these events, and then the igloos will be left up stationed at different hot spots in the city.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Okay, but if we're going to do the vendors and stuff in Memorial Park with huts, is this committee going to set money aside for that or not?
For what vendors with huts?
So with the Festival of Lights, it was also going to be that there would be vendors set up in Memorial Park on the weekends. In like,
Kind of like the Toronto
European
Christmas market
yeah.
vibe.
So are we providing the tents or do they bring their own tents? I think they bring their own tents if they're gonna set up.
Well, they can, it's just cold. Okay, let's say 15,000 for Brighton Mary, and let's just put aside 5,000 for the Festival of Lights. And then let's go from there later on.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
And before we go, I would like to bring up the Wine Festival.
And I have.
Yes, oh yes.
Okay, so I just want to know what people think of the Wine Festival.
Angela, when is it again? In November?
It's usually in November. I know that Amanda had decided that we were only going to have one and that it was going to be April or May without consulting any of the wineries who, when they found out we're having a bird, because that's when they're out there getting their fields ready.
And the crop is in by November. So-
Yeah, by November, like the point of having it in November is there was no major wine festivals happening. Their crops are all in, like it's more of a downtime, and it leads into people looking for things for Christmas, and you directly order from the wineries.
So
Okay, and so this is at the RMG.
could be.
It could be anywhere.
See, just one point I'd like to throw in. Hopefully this month, the Biltmore Theater will be open. And one of the owner's intent is to not just have live streaming musical performances, but also VIP events and even wine festivals, or wine tasting. So there is a possibility
New venue.
could be indoors at the Biltmore right downtown. And if it's too big for the Biltmore to hold by itself, then there's a possibility that there could be, more than one location. One location is best just because it concentrates things, but that's something else that we could consider that would involve a downtown business and keeping the event right downtown.
And it's actually a better location in terms of people walking out and looking for food.
Yep.
Yeah, and for parking, you have vertical access to that parking garage just about a block away.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not obligated to have it at the RMG.
There is.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a partnered event with the RMG.
No, we actually pay to utilize that space.
Okay, so yeah, I like that at the theater that Rick mentioned there, the new one that's gonna open. Yeah, we can do something like a wine,
So can we put a dollar value to it?
cheese, and music.
So yeah, we can work out the details later, but we need.
Yeah. How much did we usually pay for this? Like $1,200?
No, because there was other expenses, like there's the wine glasses, the holders, and the food. And in some cases, we've paid the wineries like $100 towards their travel expenses. So ballpark, I'm gonna say 6,000, 7,000.
That seems so high though, Angela. That seems really high.
Very.
Well, it seems high, but we have no wine glasses left. Usually
But what kind of wine glasses are we using? The dollar store sells a couple wine glasses for $1.
not doing that. We get them and we get them embossed. So it says the Wine Festival. Usually I try to get a sponsor. And so.
Well, honestly, right now with the COVID situation, I'm not leaning towards using anything like glassy or permanent. I am more leaning to plastic.
It's yours. It's your
throw
glass.
away.
It's your individual glass.
Take it home.
There.
And it's a whole year from
You
now.
carry it with you. So when you have it around your neck, you get your sample in that, and when you're done, it's rinsed out, and then you carry it to the next table, and you get it in the same glass, so it's your glass. And it's a
It's part of the
keepsake.
ticket
It's
price.
it's something that, you know, for next year you look at it and go, hey, the wine festival's coming up.
All right. I mean,
I
okay, sure. It's not my greatest thing, but sure. So with these wine glasses, do we have like a supplier?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Do we have a supplier for the wine glass?
Yes.
So can we, if we're gonna get those glasses done, then can we get them engraved with something that says BIA Wine Festival?
That's what we said we do.
Oh.
guess you
That's
don't
why
like
I get
wine,
those.
I
Andrea.
never heard. I didn't hear. I can't hear everyone. Sorry.
Okay. So, and when you come into the office, I can show you one. There's one in our
I
kitchen.
mean, I wouldn't like to use reusable, but sure. I mean, if we do, then might as well go all out and do that. So it's branded.
The embossing goes on the black sort of foam holder that the
As
glass
well.
sits in. And therefore, you know, it's you're walking around and everybody can see the whole BIA thing
Yeah.
right on
So we have the holder that holds the wine glasses, and that is sponsored by one company. And then the other one, the actual glass itself, is also sponsored. And we get those embossed as well. And I have checked going to like the dollar store and getting the wine glasses and then sending them to the company to get them embossed. And it's more expensive than actually just purchasing the glass and getting the embossing done from the same company.
Okay, no problem. So how much is it per glass? Oh, how much are we looking at?
Well, that's getting into the weeds.
Yeah.
So here's the bigger question. The bigger question is, do we have the time to organize this for this November?
No.
We're looking at
We're
next
not,
November.
we're looking
No,
next.
everything's next November, Rick.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying like $6,000 or $7,000 would be fine for this.
Yeah, let's just go with the 7 to be on the safe side. But I don't anticipate it being so much.
No, and we get money back, right? So this is
What's
just,
our cost recovery on that?
depends on
generally?
how many tickets we sell and how we sell them. So what we've done in the past is BIA members get it for $5 cheaper than anyone else. Because the BIA doesn't make very much in sales, we don't have to charge HST. And what we usually sell them on Eventbrite. And because we don't charge HST, we get the person who's purchasing it pays the fee to Eventbrite.
Sorry, just quickly, Angela, as you mentioned Eventbrite again. Now I know, is it possible that we can look into us building in like an online purchase on our website development in one of our next phases?
That expense is outside of our budget for the website.
Okay.
It might be in future years, but at this point,
There's-
it's not feasible.
There's way too many third-party sites like Shopify and everything else that have been like tried and proven and worked all the kinks out. It would be worth our time, effort, frustrations, costs to add something like specific for our website. We could integrate something like Shopify, and that would have its own cost, but we wouldn't build our own.
Yeah, because for some of these other things, every time you use them, like Eventbrite, they take a certain percentage, right? A fee, a small fee, but
Yeah, and we build that into the price of the tickets.
Yeah.
So the tickets tend to be like $25 for members and $30 for non-members.
yeah, that's okay. Great. Okay, so
So I think Rick had another idea that
Just
he
a
wanted to bring.
short one. Great opening weekend for the Troubadour Series. Not as busy as it can and will be. And the big reason is because we didn't have time to really ramp up promotion. But that's this week's job. So what I'm looking for here is a way to put this on the BIA website and to work with the BIA membership to promote this. It's a nonprofit volunteer venture that we sponsor and also big sponsors. And the idea is that it just brings people into the downtown. So we need to bring more people to downtown. So I guess what I'm saying is, as an event, an ongoing event like this, we need to find a way to put it on the BIA website and to get it worked out with our membership. And it's going on the website today. Well, there's the good news.
So are we looking at this as an event for next year?
Absolutely. It's a pilot project now, but here's the thing. The mayor loves this idea, and he's talking about applying for a provincial art and culture grant that we could expand the scope of this. And so the idea being that, you know, signage, lighting, more venues, better paid musicians. We've ramped it up from $50 to $100 because we got a private sponsor, which is great. Now it makes it attractive for our musicians to get some kind of a income going on. But for next summer, it would be like 7 months, and it would be integral to all the events that we do downtown. So yeah, as an add-on event in terms of you're doing this during the day and we have this going on at night. So whatever we can do to ramp this up, I think is only going to benefit us as we're the sponsors, co-sponsors.
When are you saying it's starting?
Well, I would like to see it move the patio season earlier into May, and I'd see it go May, June, July, August, September, and maybe at least mid-October.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 months.
5.5 months, okay.
I'm just going to look at, I'm sorry, I'm looking at calendar to see if I can get an idea for the weeks.
I was
So
thinking
I'm saying it
6
wouldn't
months,
start
but-
them, I wouldn't start May 1st, maybe the 8th. So there's 2, 4,
Depends
6,
on the year, right?
10, 12, 13.
And it depends on the weather and how the season shapes up.
Absolutely it does. And then like October could be warm or cool, so in May. April is too early, but I definitely want to have this in place if we get the Memorial Cup. Absolutely, definitely in place for that.
So we're looking at 22 weeks. So 44 performances, right?
$1,000 a week minimum.
So
Yeah,
that's
$22,000.
$4,400.
$4,400? You're looking at $1,000 a weekend and
22 weeks. So
Right.
multiply that by
that's
4.
22,000.
But is half of this money being offset by some sponsorship, Rick?
So it's not 22,000 with the BIA.
No, it would be 44,000.
No, it's $1,000 a weekend. It's 22
Weekend.
weeks. It's
Oh.
22,000.
Okay, I need
So
more
what it
chocolate.
would be then is, yes, we got big this year, but I think there'd be a few other people who would want to chip in on this because of the length of it and the breadth of this and what it's linked to. So I don't think we're going to have a problem getting additional sponsors. Plus, we may also have to consider a possible provincial art and culture grant. So getting the money for this, I don't think is the problem. Getting the musicians isn't a problem. It's how do you schedule this with how many venues downtown? That's based on 5 venues right now. There may be more that want to jump in on this and create patios just to get in on this, and I'm all for that. So yeah, so 22,000 at a minimum, and I'm thinking probably if we get more venues, that's going to go up. But again, I'm not worried about the money. I'm looking at the tremendous impact that this is going to have ongoing on the downtown. So
Well, we're worried about
Yeah, you're not worried about the money, but our budget is. So, I mean, we can account for half at the moment, but
I'm not sure the BIA should even be in for half. I think the BIA could be in for, you know, a similar amount prorated, but maybe even just a quarter, because I think we're going to get other sponsors and we may have provincial money. So I'd say for now, why don't we say $7,000, which
yeah,
is
that's reasonable. I can work with that, I guess,
Equal to the wine and cheese.
provided the budget's approved.
Yeah, so we say 7 with the proviso that there will be other private donors and provincial money to flesh it out to the level that it needs. Like the BIA, I think has to have a presence in this and be seen as a sponsor. It's just a profile enhancer for us as well. It would be something that the BIA membership would see the BIA actively promoting an event and being involved with an event that economically impacts on the downtown. It doesn't just bring people downtown, like maybe for Cars on King, which is great, But if the businesses aren't open, the people aren't spending money in the businesses, it's a great downtown event, it's exposure, that's fabulous. But this is an ongoing thing that brings people downtown that actually spend money and time downtown to attend. So I think it's a great event for us to be involved with on a sponsorship level.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Rick, could you maybe talk to Mayor Carter? I watch his little videos, you know, all the update videos.
Yeah.
So he's very comfortable on TV because, you know, he had a lot of experience there. Maybe it might be nice if he came and did a video with Angela or someone from the BIA promoting this event so they can see that the BIA is part of it, because a lot of people may not realize that the BIA is part of it, or who's part of it, or where it's going to be. It might be a promo, and then he can do it as an update.
The musicians in the venues certainly know this now, and the people coming downtown will know, and the more we put it on our calendar, the more we're involved. But any kind of, like I can do a video with Angela, the mayor can do a video, whatever. That's a great idea, Greg. The more that we can do to keep pumping this out there. Like I had two people at Wendell Clark's where we went to watch Friday night, and they said, well, we heard about this. We saw this on somebody's Facebook page. That's why we're here. But where can we find out who's playing next week and where? And so that's this week's challenge, is to we have the schedule now. We're going to have it out at least by Wednesday. All the names, the venues, phone numbers to contact, websites, and the performer that's at each one. And if people know that, then they can say, well, okay, we'll go here first, we'll go here second, or we'll go here for dinner, and then we'll go here to listen. So yeah, so that's what this week is all about in subsequent weeks, is broadening and deepening the penetration of the market for people to get a spot where they can find out about this.
And Rick, are you also going to flip us that schedule and we can spruce it up and post it on the BIA as well?
Yeah, that's a given. And Taylor's saying now that that's going to be up on the BIA calendar today. We just need to give her all the details as to sites, phone numbers, contacts, and the performer that's playing.
So Andrea,
Hi.
were you planning on being in the interview with the potential committee member?
What time is that for?
Right now. So I think we're done here.
Yep.
If we're done here, I will stop this recording and then give Isaac my computer.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that.
Well, no, you go ahead, Ann.
I'll make that motion, Amber here.
Second?
Me.
Perfect.
Okay, so
Vote.
I will just, oh yeah, so all in favor?
All right.
I.
Everyone, Greg, Ann?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I will get this out probably Wednesday to everyone.
And
I
we
have
can,
a grant that I need to work on.
and you still need a recap. We can do this offline.
Yeah, if you want to call me, I
I
can.
need to collect my thoughts. There's a lot of stuff that I have a lot of questions, plus I think I need a lot of catching up. So
Sure.
yeah, somehow we need to reconnect.
Yeah, so you know how to get a hold of me, Ann. That's fine.
Yeah.
And same
Okay.
with you, Greg, if you have other questions or anything. Okay, so I'm stopping the recording now. See you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.